What's up, everyone? Today we're going to talk about the top reasons you should not, I repeat, should not get a silencer. And as you can see, I believe you should have silencers, but that's going to be a different video. But there are many reasons that a lot of people choose the option of not going the suppressor silencer route. And here are the reasons that I think would be a detriment to you going for a suppressor or silencer or can, whichever you want to call it. All right, the number one reason is the expense. These things are not cheap. Even some of these least expensive ones, like this Yankee Hill R9 and the Gemtech Trek 2, are still expensive. And then you have to tack onto that the $200 tax that the government places on you for buying a suppressor. Okay, now all this has to be paid up front. It ain't like you could do there are some companies you can do some payment plans with, but the $200 is definitely going to the ATF right up at the beginning, and most places are going to charge you, only over 3 or 4 months. So if you're able to do a layaway, which most places you aren't, you're going to have to pay cash up front and pay your $200 tax stamp. And if you have a can that you buy online and you have it transferred into a FFL SOT, they're going to charge you a transfer fee, which could be, I've seen transfer fees as high as $125 per silencer. So, number one reason not to get a silencer is it's expensive. Okay. My next reason is they add extra wear and tear on your firearms. Okay, they're going to, depending on who you ask, increase pressure or increase dwell time on your firearm, which is going to be harder on your system. So if you don't properly gas, like we done some videos on the polonium being overgassed on my short barrel rifle, and I've done some things to mitigate that to prevent it from being overgassed and to have less wear and tear on my parts. But that, of course, costs me extra to do that. So that's something that you have to look into. It is going to make a lot more wear and tear on your firearms. Okay. Another reason, you have to excuse the dogs barking. Another reason is you have a wait time. You pay for this thing, and you can't just take it home. You have to wait until somebody at the ATF gets around to it and somebody at the FBI gets around to doing your background check before you can actually take your silencer home. So that can go from anywhere from 6 months to over a year. So you're paying cash up front, and it could take well over a year before you can actually take the product that you bought home with you. Okay, so that's another detriment to having silencers. Okay, one more detriment that I find is that you have to buy, generally, unless you go with the direct thread can like this Gemtech, which threads onto any muzzle that's 1/2x28, you have to buy mounts and muzzle devices. Okay, and most mounts are going to be around $100. If you go with the chemo mount, that's $200. If you go with this Yankee Hill 3-lug for the Y9, I think that was $100. Okay, this Yankee Hill Kurtz adapter was $60, and then you had to pay another $70 for the different muzzle brake or flash hider that you had to use with this specific mount. So that's another expense that you're going to have to add on. If you go pistol can, you're going to have to get pistol boosters, and depending on what thread pitch you're running, it could be the 13 by 1 or the 1/2x28 for 9mm. It could be 0.578 for 45. It could be anything. And then if you're going to use this also on a 3-lug mount, you got to buy a 3-lug mount for this. So the expense doesn't just start with the can. It it just continues and continues. And the more you want to utilize it, the more it costs you. So that's another issue that you're going to have, and another detriment to owning suppressors. Another one, and some people have a real big problem with this, is that you are going to be restricted, because this is a highly regulated by the federal government. So you're not going to be able to just kind of willy-nilly freely travel wherever you want without having your tax stamp or your trust, depending on how you set it up. So that's one of the things. And there are a lot of states that you can't own suppressors in. So that might be a detriment to you too. If you live in one of the states that you can't have one, you're not going to get one anyway. All right, they're not going to allow you to. All right. Also, if you pass away, having this thing transferred to your heirs is going to be, more paperwork involved. So there are a lot of reasons not to get a silencer. So next video I do is going to be top reasons I think you should get a silencer. So if you have any questions or anything that I missed, you think, pop it in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you have a great night, yo.